What's up guys? In today's video I am going to be doing an Overwatch Ultimates tier list. So before we get started, if you haven't already left a like on the video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new with the bell notifications turned on to know when I go live. I go live here on my YouTube Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and I go live over on my Twitch at 11 a.m. Eastern time for some Overwatch content, and I do variety content here on YouTube. Would greatly appreciate if you tune in to stream and you can see all of these ultimates unfold live. But without further ado, let's just jump right into the video, guys. So for some reason, there is no Sigma ultimate and there's no Echo ultimate on this list from what I've gathered, but for some reason D.Va remake is actually on this list. So it's not a complete list, but we will still include them in our personal list and where we think that they actually fall, if they're rather game-changing ultimates or if we find them just utterly useless, pointless garbage. Get them out of the game. Why do they exist? Rework them. So for Sigma's ultimate, I would actually say that his ultimate is best used in like the mid-fight, is where it gets the most value. However, it's not really that impactful. I'd probably put it in the somewhat impactful place. The biggest use of his ultimate is that it displaces people, so you can combo it with other things. High Noon, Torb ult, freeze, like just a bunch of different things when they actually drop back down and they're brought back to 50% of their health. So it's somewhat impactful, but again, it really only gains a lot of impact if it's like comboed with something else. So I'd put it in somewhat impactful personally. Feel free to disagree with me. Leave your comments below and let me know what you think about all of these rankings. Next one, Echo ult. Echo just recently got nerfed, literally just yesterday at the time of this recording. Just recently got nerfed and her ultimate cost is actually like 15% more, I believe, which is crazy. Like even the devs kind of realized that Echo ultimate like is huge. It's only taken, what, over a year since her release for them to actually do anything about her Echo ultimate, but at least it's being done, you know, before Overwatch 2. So that's great. But her ultimate is super impactful. Like, it's, I don't know if it's, now it can be game-changing. I would put it in game-changing, especially depending on who you copy. Like, it can just turn the tides completely. It's huge. So the nerfs were needed in a sense. I think they absolutely kind of butchered it though, because projectile is really, like, projectile-based heroes just are not as good as hit scan heroes right now. Generally speaking, obviously there's a tons of situations and ranks and differences and stuff like that changed that train of thought. But in terms of like higher ranking stuff, from what I've seen, it was good for there to be like a projectile-based hero that was really impactful, and they're kind of just nerfing that, catering to the lower rank stuff a little bit more, in my opinion. So overall though, can be very game-changing, even though the cost is greater. You know, when you have it, it's game-changing. So now that we got those two out of the way, we can actually go and move on to the icons that we have in front of us. So the first one is Nano, I believe. Nano is game-changing. Like, it's so game-changing. Think about anyone who's nanoed. Anyone. If you have a nano tracer, it's scary. If you have a nano Rhine, scary. If you have a nano like blade, scary. If you have a nano monkey, scary. Like, nano is just so game-changing with the instant health that you get, the damage reduction that you get, and the damage increase that you get. Like, it's just scary. Ultimately, like, Nano probably needed the nerf more than Echo Ultimate did. It's absolutely game-changing, so we're just gonna put that right up here right away. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm gonna try and do this tier list based off of my experiences, while trying to also consider like higher tier gameplay from what I've seen, and also lower tier gameplay back from when I used to be in bronze. But generally speaking, this is gonna, you know, revolve around like gold plat range opinions. So there you go, Plat chat, this one's for you guys. So the next one is Bob. As an Ashe main, I love Bob, but he's not a game-changing ultimate. In around gold to plat, he's impactful, I would say. In higher ranks, he's like situational, I would say, just because at that point he just gets burned down so quickly. Really, the situation to use him is to like touch point. That's pretty much about it. Versus like in Gold Plat, you can get some half decent value from him to you know, throw Bob on the high ground, throw Bob at their back line. Like it's pretty impactful. So in terms of Plat, we'll put him in the impactful spot there. Next ultimate is Baptiste Window. So Baptiste Window is very interesting. It works similarly to Deadeye in the sense that it is like a zoning ultimate primarily. However, I mean, it just regens, you know, ultimates pretty quickly. Like you throw a fire strike through there, it just is beastly. You know, it amplifies healing, amplifies damage, just amps everything, right? So it's a pretty good ultimate, and you get it relatively quickly. I wouldn't say it's a game-changing ultimate, but I would say that it's impactful no matter the rank that you're at. I just think it might get used a little bit better in higher ranks. This icon, I don't know what this icon is. If anyone in the comments can tell me, is this like Bastion's old ultimate icon? Because I also didn't see Bastion's icon in here anywhere. But I'm going to say that this is Bastion's ultimate. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. It's a weird tier list, but here we go. Bastion's ultimate is borderline useless, I find. But I think it can also be situational in like lower ranks. Like you can maybe get like a pick or two off of it, but other than that, it's like kind of useless. It doesn't zone anything. It's not an area of effect ultimate. Like, I don't know. It's either situational or useless, in my opinion. Let's put it in situational. Let's give Bastion the benefit of the doubt. Let's give Bastion one, since Bastion's been having a rough time. Rally is next. Brig. It's just crazy. Like, she is just so impactful as a hero in of herself, which we've talked about in our previous hero tier lists. But Rally in of itself is just game changing, in my opinion. That extra armor can really turn the tide of a fight. And there's nothing scarier than really like rallying Brig, truthfully. It's just to the spawn room you go. Alright, next ultimate is Doomfist ultimate. Doomfist is in a really interesting place right now. He is good in low ranks, not that great in high ranks without a ton of peel, so he's kind of somewhere in the middle, I would say. In terms of his ultimate really gains value in being out of position, like people who are out of position, either on supports, who are isolated and split from their team. That's really where he gets the most value out of it, or if you can combo it with like a Grav or something, or like an Orisa pull would be really good too. Otherwise, it's just borderline useless. Like I would say 9 times out of 10, and I'm not a Doomfist main, so correct me if I'm wrong, all you Doomfist mains out there, but 9 times out of 10, I want to say that Doomfist uses his ultimate to get back to his team safely versus using it for a kill. If you get killed by a Doomfist ultimate, like look at your own gameplay because you probably messed up somewhere in terms of your positioning specifically. So I would say that's situational, speaking from a Plat standpoint. Or is it useless? It's situational in Plat. It's situational in Plat, whether or not you can use it as a kill, because people are stupid when it comes to positioning and isolate themselves a ton, so you might be able to get a kill off of it. Might. Next one is D.Va ult. D.Va ult and then Mech specifically. So D.Va ult is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's game changing, but it can be impactful for sure. It's really good because it gives you kind of like an extra life, kind of like Echo Ultimate did, which is really good. You can get some kills from it too. It's really good, like with combination of other things too. Shatter Bomb, for example, Shatter Noon, Shatter Window, whatever your combo preference is. So it can be really impactful, I would say, and it has a higher chance of you getting kills than like Doomfist Ultimate, you know? So I wouldn't say it's game changing though, but it can be impactful. Mech. Why is Mech on here? What a weird change to the game. I like that it changed it though. It makes things more dynamic, which is fun. And it's just kind of a weird ability. I don't know. You think it's like something for like an April Fool's joke, which I think it was, but it's funny. It's funny. And it's funny that they have it here in an ultimate tier list, because I guess it's part of her ultimate, but it's different. So is it impactful? Is it useless? Is it game-changing? Is it a game-changing thing that they incorporated? I don't think it's game-changing. I think that would be absolutely insane. It's more so just for the meme plays, right? So I'd say it's kind of like situational, you know? You either see an opportunity where you can like sneak in and go for a remake kill, or it's just useless because it's no different than the other remake. You just remake and get back to your team ASAP, right? The likelihood of you killing like 3 with a remake is insane. So I'd say it's situational. Blade in of itself in Plat is kind of mid-tier, I would say. Like, it's somewhat impactful. Simply because I think it requires so much like support from your team and also just indecisiveness from the enemy team to gain that value. And also just like resource depletion from the enemy team to gain that value. It's like, it's somewhat impactful, right? But if you go in and you're blading, just blading, you don't get any support, you don't get a nano, you don't get a bubble, nothing like that. You go in, you get graved, you get antied and you're dead. You go in with blade and you get sigma ulted and you're dead, you know? So it can be somewhat impactful depending on your skill level and depending on the enemy team as well as your team too. It's kind of mid-tier. Next one is Hanzo's Dragon. Hanzo's Dragon, not bad. It's primarily used as also kind of like to split people away from their team, and so you can isolate a target and to focus on that target and focus them down. Also pretty good in combination with like Grav too. But is it impactful or is it somewhat impactful? I would say it's impactful. Yeah, I feel good about that. Tire is really good in Platinum. Like, really good. You gain crazy value out of Tire in lower ranks, but even in Platinum, like, it's really good. It's really good to open up a fight, so you guarantee that you're getting a 6v5. You get it pretty quickly, too. And you pretty much guarantee a kill if you path correctly with the Tire and you catch people off guard with it. I would say it's impactful for sure. Beat, that's just game changing. Beat is like one of the best ultimates in the game. Honestly, it counters so much. It'll counter, you know, Blade. It's great. It's great ultimate. Hence why the cost of it's so high. Deadeye. As a hit scan main, I hate Deadeye with a fiery passion. I think it's kind of useless, personally, but it has a similar kind of vibe to Amp Matrix. You can't directly get, I mean, you can get kills with Amp Matrix technically, you can with Deadeye, but like, it's so situational in the sense that like you basically need to take like a really risky off angle or flank to get value with it. Or you need to have like use it for cleanup. So if their tanks die, you just clean up, you know, 1 or 2 kills. Which at that point is like borderline useless. You know, it's just borderline useless. But it's situational, mainly situational, I guess. Next one is May Freeze. It's a fight winner. It's honestly a fight winner. You just throw May Freeze down and you win. I guess maybe if they're running like, I don't know, dive, it might not be that big, but like in today's kind of rush meta, like it changes the game, and that's why they're nerfing it in Overwatch 2. Actually, I think her ultimate will still freeze, but she doesn't freeze from a regular cannon. Anyways, moving on. We're not getting into Overwatch 2 right now. Next one is Mercy Valk. Really not that impactful, but it can kind of turn the tide, especially with, you know, blue beaming all of your team. I'd say it's kind of situational. It's situational, if whether or not it's going to impact your team or not. Coalescence, it's somewhat impactful. Like, it's good for healing up your team, but half the time it's used as damage because Coalescence go burr. So it's somewhat impactful. I would say. Rarely is it ever used for healing your teammates back up, though. And it's not for like really much of a defensive thing. Like, it's not like a beat where, you know, it can counter like a or a blade or anything like that. So it's somewhat impactful. Bongo. Bongo is really good. Orisa's Supercharger is really, really good. It has a crazy good range to it. The damage amplification as well, super, super good. And it's a pretty impactful ultimate. You see it used in like Owl a ton, and it turns the tide. Just that extra little bit of damage increase can really turn the tide of a ton of games. I would say it's impactful. Yeah, even in Plat, it's impactful. People don't have to realize its value in order to actually receive that damage boost. They don't necessarily have to understand it for it to be impactful. Barrage. Ugh, Barrage. It's another ultimate where you can just die in your ultimate. You're standing still, kind of like Hog ult or Deadeye. Super, super situational. If you can get a really good angle, you might be able to get 1 or 2 picks. Otherwise, it's borderline useless because you just sacrifice yourself like it's a trade almost. But I wouldn't put it really useless. Like, I have an idea of what I think a useless ultimate is, and you'll see coming up. Reaper ult. Reaper ult, I'd say, is somewhat impactful. Like, yeah, you can get stunned out of the ult and stuff, but situationally, you can use it when enemy team's resources are depleted. If McCree's used his stun, sleep's gone, stuff like that, then you can, you know, get a free kill or 2 on the back line. I'd say it's somewhat impactful. Earth Shatter, yeah, super impactful. Super, super impactful, I'd say. You just get main tank diffed all the time against the enemy Ryan. I mean, you're just gonna lose. Like, get good, kid. Next one, Hog ult. Same thing as like Barrage. It's situational. If you find yourself in a small room with someone with a squishy, then it's just an easy free kill on them. Otherwise, you're likely to get, you know, antied, slept, stunned out of the ultimate, die. So, super situational whether you're gonna use it or not. Visor is borderline useless. It's borderline useless, but I'm gonna put it in situational because I think that if you get half decent off angles and like Plat, if you kill their tanks as well, then you can use it as cleanup, similar to kind of Deadeye in that situation. But it's not something that's gonna really change the game too much, I'd say. EMP, definitely an impactful one, but somewhat impactful in terms of Plat gameplay because there's oftentimes not a lot of follow-up with EMPs. In Plat, you're gonna get some follow-up versus something like Silver, you're gonna get no follow-up and it's just absolutely useless. But overall, I'd place it in impactful. All right, next one. We've got Symmetra Wall. Symmetra Wall is somewhat impactful, I would say. It lasts for quite a while. It can block a ton of damage as well, which is really good. So I feel good about it being somewhat impactful. It can really help your team, help your tanks regen their shield, stuff like that. So really, really good. Torb Ultimate. Zikum. Torb Ultimate is situational. It's a good AoE thing. So if you're doing a King of the Hill style map, 2CP kind of map, really, really good for that. Otherwise, its value is best in like a combination with like a Grav or something along those lines. What would we say? Somewhat impactful or situational? Oh, it's somewhere in between those, I would say, because it depends. It depends on the situation for it to be somewhat impactful. Does that make sense? Let's put it in somewhat impactful. Okay. Pulse Bomb. Pulse Bomb is not bad, but not great. You get it relatively quickly though, which is good. Let's put it under somewhat impactful because if you land that onto a squishy or onto like a Brig support, even one of your counters like a McCree, then you can get some really good value. It can turn the team fight around for you guys because then you're just uncontested. So if you can land that pulse bomb and stick that pulse bomb, then it's impactful. But using it for its AoE damage is really situational whether or not you do that. But we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Widow's ult. This is what I consider to be useless. This is what I consider to be useless. I mean, let's consider something here, guys. Let's consider the fact that Hanzo has a sonar, which is basically Widow's ultimate, and it's his regular ability. That's a useless ultimate. The only thing that it's useful for is that if you're Widow and they're running flankers on you to try and kill you, then at least you can tell if someone's trying to flank you and where they're flanking from. And you might be able to throw, you know, your Venom Mine to catch them off guard a little bit, but ultimately, like, it doesn't help you to really win that 1v1. You know, you still need a ton of peel, you still need to hit your shots. Like, it doesn't give you that much of an advantage, so ultimately it's just useless. Like, I don't like it at all. Please rework it in some way. Monkey ult is really impactful, I would say. It displaces people, you can get good kills from it too, you get a ton of health, so the stall potential is just really, really good too. Like, it's an impactful ult. There's really nothing else to it. Venom Mines. Venom Mines work similarly to Torb's ultimate. It's an area of effect ultimate, so we'll place it in somewhat impactful as well for the reasons mentioned before. Grav is like game-changing. Ultimately, it's a really, really good ultimate. There's so many things that you can combo with it. You throw an anti-nade in there, like it's just GG. You know, regroup, go next fight. The only thing is that if D.Va like eats it, then yikes, unlucky. The last ultimate is Zen Trans ultimate. Super, super good. It changes the fight, honestly. Like, it provides you with such a good amount of sustain, and has really good defensive abilities as well incorporated with it, so it's a really game-changing fight overall. But so this is the overall tier list. Don't forget that we put the Sigma ult and the Echo ultimate in there as well, even though they weren't actually in the icons. So if, like, editor, you want to just put in like their ultimate icons or something, that would be great. But that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you think I got right or what you think I got wrong in this ultimate tier list in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!